Welcome back to another edition of the appropriately named Manson Brothers Show. I'm three-quarters of the world's greatest tag team of all time, the Ultimate Hellraiser, Stone Manson, and here with my brother Carlos, a.k.a. the Immovable Force, the
Skull Manson.
Skull Manson. And today, we're going to talk about a film that is near and dear to our hearts. A little bit of a weather anomaly.
Gone with the wind.
It's got everything you'd ever want. It's got swords, swashbuckling,
got
healthy sized bosoms,
more than healthy size,
many attractive females, pieces of wood in the ocean,
rotten flesh,
everything you could ever want.
Gold.
Seriously,
John Houseman.
Oh, they earned the gold. Lepers, the whole deal. And here's the thing: what could possibly be spookier than a marauding band of vengeful seamen?
I can't think of anything.
Me either. This week's episode is on the fog. We'll be right back.
Now listen up, little man, and listen good. There's nobody that get in the ring with the Manson brothers and go bell to bell. We don't beat people up, we beat them up. Down, we beat them down, whatever. My God.
And we're back. It's another edition of the Manson Brothers Show. I'm Stone Manson. This is my brother, Skull Manson. Today, we're talking about all manner of things. Music,
wrestling.
Probably wrestling. Who knows? We might talk about
films.
Carlos's enchilada recipe.
It's a good
Nobody
one.
knows. But
Use
we're definitely talking about the 1980 film, John Carpenter.
I'm sorry, 81.
How many times
80, 80.
So you get it right.
No, it's 80.
80, 81, 82.
It's 80.
It was 80, a long time
81
ago.
81 was Escape from New York.
Back when great movies came out by the one and only John Carpenter. And this one uses all the Carpenter favorites, right? It's got Nancy Loomis.
Got Hal Holbrook.
It's got Hal Holbrook.
Charles Cyphers.
It's got Charles Cyphers. I mean, Charles Cyphers is literally in everything John Carpenter's ever
just
done.
About.
He was in Escape from New York. He was in what else?
Creep Show.
Assault on Precinct 13.
Oh, no, he wasn't in Creep Show.
He's in all of them.
Yeah. Halloween 2.
But I think let's pull it back a little bit and figure out. We don't have a lot to complain about with John Carpenter.
No.
Right? I mean, I think we can both say
even with his later stuff.
We love his films. I even like Ghosts of Mars. For
I like Ghosts of Mars too.
Great film.
It is moments.
I don't know if I can call it great, but and the guy from Revenge of the Nerds was in it. But whatever. But this is one of those movies where I feel like I have to pick out something that I think he really missed out on. And again, far be it for me to tell a director like John Carpenter
or screenwriters how to write.
Yeah.
However,
or
if you give your lemons,
tag team wrestlers how to save the world.
Right.
Because I mean, effectively, this movie is about saving the world.
Right. And if you want to watch us save the world, you can watch the Manson Brothers Midnight Zombie Massacre on Blu-ray, DVD, and video on demand everywhere.
Because that just happened right there. We saved the world. Anyway, back to the film. I feel like John Carpenter made just a slight error in this movie.
Now, as you know, I'm not a math wizard, but let me lay out this.
I'm very well aware of that.
Let me lay out this equator for you. Jamie Lee Curtis plus Adrienne Barbeau, but nobody came up with equals cat fight.
Yeah. If ever there was a 1 + 1 = 3, that's it right there.
Why is it doesn't equal 3? Well, anyway, nobody thought.
Have you ever heard the term, the sum is greater than the whole of the parts?
No, I've heard, but you come get some. I've heard that.
Anyway, continue.
Well, anyway, you got Adrienne Barbeau in her prime, beautiful woman,
Stevie Wayne,
great big old grenades, right? As the DJ in the lighthouse.
Is that it? Wasn't the hairdo?
I like the hairdo too. I like her. She's a beautiful face and a really sexy voice. But that's beside the point.
Well, I actually, it's funny you say that because she plays a DJ in the film. So she's Stevie Wayne, and she's got the.
She's got that nice.
Until we hit the witching hour.
Yeah, our little prepubescent brains. That was great at the time.
My Jolly Roger was at full mast.
Anyway, so you got her. And then you got Jamie Lee Curtis, who was young, very young at the time, nubile, just sort of coming into her own as not only a scream queen, Did I say it right?
I like that.
Oh, see, I practiced that one.
Very good.
Anyway, but nobody thought to have these two and pulling hair and biting and scrap. Nobody thought that. They missed a huge demographic of people.
Fighting would have been awesome.
Oh,
yeah, for sure.
Pulling.
Well, that begs the question:
around.
if Carpenter would have
make it a wrestling match,
been had the foresight to be that intelligent, and add that to the film.
Yeah, he was married to her too.
Which again, there's not a lot of things I can say he's ever done wrong.
But I'm sorry, John, you missed the boat.
Yeah, you totally missed the boat on this one. Who do you think wins in said catfight?
Oh, I'm going with Adrienne Barbeau just because of experience and build.
How do you know she's got any experience?
Because she was in Maude.
Adrienne Barbeau was in Maude?
She was Maude's daughter. And then there's Maude.
Did her and Maude ever have a catfight?
I don't know, but she was kind of feisty. She played like the rebellious baby boomer daughter.
I think you're basing her on her character she played before. I'm going with none other than JLC, Jamie Lee Curtis.
I think
I'm going to tell you why. Youth plus, you said nubile. You coined the phrase yourself. She's got agility. She's got youth. She's kind of feisty in the movie, right? She's down to hitchhike and hook up randomly with whatever punch.
I'm still going with Barbeau,
would be leading man.
I think,
comes along.
Wait a minute. Let's finish this conversation. Wait a minute.
Okay.
So let's say this was a wrestling match between these two chicks. Let's say it's like, who would be like who are the greatest female wrestlers of all time? Who is Gladys Killam Gillum? Gladys Killam Gillum.
Let's get out of the Stone Ages for female wrestling. Look, I want to talk about the female wrestlers before
Mae Young.
They had the padding in their butts in the outfits. They all wore the same like high school PE class swimsuit in the
Shirley Banner.
No, do not tell me about Shirley Banner or anybody named Gillum.
Come on.
Or Mae Young.
Moolah.
Or Moolah. Everybody knows Moolah was tough, but Moolah was Moolah.
Mildred Burke was the toughest one of all. There's a book about Mildred Burke called The Toughest Woman in the World. Read it. It's great.
Let's fast forward to the era when it started to be not only women who were aesthetically pleasing,
Mildred Burke,
but could also hang and bang and get around the ring.
Yeah.
And in my mind, there's only one. The former AWA, WCW, and WWF women's champion, Medusa Michelli.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
The combination of beauty, brawn,
technique, charisma.
She was legit.
She was the prototype.
You can say Wendy Richter. You can say Wendy.
No, because Wendy Richter still worked that kind of old.
Wendy Richter
style
was a gimmick amongst gimmicks.
Right.
She wasn't even really a worker.
Well, she was.
But they brought her in to kind of
Medusa
do the whole rock and wrestling.
Yeah, Medusa was the prototype of how the women wrestlers are today.
Yes.
Where they wrestle better than the guys most of the time.
They're main eventing.
Right.
And Medusa could do that.
She was. The problem was there was nobody for her to work.
Right.
Nowadays, if you put Medusa in her prime now with these chicks in the ring now, man.
Who were some of the other? Who was the gal? What was
Leilani Kai.
What was the other one who was like Barry Windham and Sam Houston's sister? What the hell was her name?
Oh, I don't remember.
Oh my God.
Baby
Doll was one of their sisters.
Yeah, but she wasn't really a worker though. No. Too many kicks to the head.
That brings us to this week's wrestling jargon word of the day, which is
worker.
Now, Carlos, tell us what a worker is.
A worker is somebody perpetrating a work. In other words, someone who's being inscrutable, con artist, somebody who's putting one over on you. They're working you. They're a worker. Another word for it is if you're a worker, you're kind of a journeyman wrestler. You're not a star. You're not a jobber. You're not a shooter. You're a worker. Or it's just a general term for wrestler. It's got a lot of connotations.
So if we were going and we were sitting at the airport and a phone call came in,
yep,
and we were headed to Cedar Rapids, Iowa, let's say.
Okay.
And you were talking to the promoter.
Yep.
And you were going to ask them what other tag team we were going to be in the ring with them that evening, would you say, who are we wrestling tonight?
No.
Or what would you say?
Say who we working.
Exactly. So not only is it a euphemism for an actual wrestler,
It's
also a term used to describe
the
it's
act
kind of a verb as well.
The act of.
Who are we working?
Or are you working me? You working me?
Also, so
or this is a work
versus a what?
A shoot.
Exactly, which is
something real.
We'll talk about that at a later date. Anyway, moving right along.
Moving along.
Back to Leilani Kai. No, I'm just kidding. We're not talking about her anymore. We're going to go back to the fog.
Anybody knows what happened to Leilani Kai, let us know.
Please do.
MansonBrothers.com.
Yes. But send in to the viewer emails what happened.
You know what, though, Stone Inkton? We were talking about John Carpenter regulars in his movies, but we missed a big one.
That's exactly
Would you
where
care
I was
to
going.
tell the kind people on the other side of the screen?
I'm going to give you the opportunity to lead with this one because
you're nice.
It's a personal favorite of mine.
So this man has been in a number of Carpenter films, mostly as a leading man. Occasionally he plays a second character, mostly a leading man. The most unlikely leading man in the history of movies, the great Tom Atkins.
Ring the Tom Atkins bell. By the way, folks, if you want to get ready, every time, if you've got a drinking game in mind when you watch the show, and might I suggest having a cocktail round and very low expectations, because a combination of a buzz and low expectations will carry you throughout this program.
Also, if the men are having cocktails, you know what the women are having? That's right, beers.
I was going to say mocktails.
Oh,
that's not a thing.
That might be. I don't know. But anyway, Tom Atkins. You got to drink. You got to drink. You got to drink.
Why aren't you drinking?
Because I don't drink.
I don't need a drink.
Because one of us has to drive the Winnebago.
If there's the one thing I do not need, it's a drinking game.
No.
Do need a new liver, though. Anyway. Yeah, we're not going to do that. So, back to Tom Atkins.
Yep. An unlikely leading man. But if you think about it, a realistic leading man.
Very realistic. Yeah. With the exception of the amount of ass he pulls in every film.
That guy gets more. He gets more tush than a bicycle seat.
He's like Rick Springfield or something.
He gets more bumper than a bumper cars at the carnival.
I think we've drawn the pattern here with John Carpenter of he's got kind of a duality between the leading men, right? It's a very binary situation where you either go with Kurt Russell,
who when you look at him, you're like leading man.
We're in a situation and we need a motherfucker to get.
You got to line up of guys. You're like that guy.
That's the guy.
That's the
get
guy.
Him and bring his
unless he's standing Unless he's standing
iPad.
Next to Mel Gibson or Sylvester Stallone.
In my mind, it's still Kurt Russell.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
Okay, if it's Schwarzenegger or Jason Statham, maybe.
Oh, stop it with Jason Statham.
That's a joke.
Yeah,
you're looking all red and blotchy, mate.
The amazing midget.
That's my Jason.
Go ahead.
That's pretty good, right?
No offense, Jay. I like your.
So Kurt Russell is your guy who you're like, things are bad. We need a dude who's going to make it not bad.
Call Dexter Riley.
Let's call Kurt Russell, right?
Yeah, the strongest man in the world, the computer that wore tennis shoes, the Invisible Man.
The guy from Used Cars. He ran for
Senate. Rudy Russo.
Tom Atkins is the guy who it's like you look around
the
room
only choice,
and it's like, oh fuck, the guy.
It's like
the guy smoking a Pall Mall, drinking a scotch.
You look around,
our only hope,
and it's between Neil Patrick Harris,
right,
like Carrot Top, and Tom Atkins. Now Carrot Top's sort of built, so maybe, but he looks insane. But he looks insane. So you'd go to Atkins because he's probably the lesser of the three.
Carrot Top should do more movie parts, I think.
Ask Max Martini.
I would cast that guy and everything.
That's right, Max.
So casting directors, look out. If you see a ginger guy with curly hair coming across who's kind of buff.
Who looks like a whiter version of the elder Michael Jackson.
Yeah, give him a shot.
Yeah.
Come on. Bring him in for a callback anyway. Let's get back to Tom Atkins.
Tom Atkins looks like he's the guy. Right.
He looks like he's like, oh, this is the guy.
Everyman.
Yeah, he's
right.
the everyman.
He's the guy. He's the reluctant.
Like I said, Pall Mall, no filter, glass of scotch,
Schlitz.
He's got just enough of a buzz that he's willing to take on. situation. And if he hasn't already banged the leading chick, he figures if I get away with this, I'm definitely banging the leading.
He's like, I think I got a couple of roofies left.
100%.
So, and to prove it, he winds up picking up Jamie Lee Curtis, who's hitchhiking, and the first thing she asks him is, "Are you weird?" And he goes, "Oh yeah."
Oh yeah.
And with that,
let me see those drawings.
yeah,
baby.
the next scene, right? He's taking her to the prom.
I'd like to talk about how over he is, but that's a wrestling jargon term for another episode.
Well, anyway, he winds up. This guy overkicks his coverage like
every movie. Every movie he's in.
I mean, why can't that ever happen to me? I don't know. He didn't have a mustache in that one.
He didn't?
No, that didn't come till later. Every time this guy gets a chick, she said, I got to go on a double date. And then I get I'm not so certain those are girls.
She was not that bad, the last one.
Oh, she kissed me goodnight and her beard shaved 3 layers of skin off on my face. And she gives me a hug. She cracks 3 of my ribs.
Yeah, she's the best looking chick you've been out with in like 3 years.
That's aside the point.
Well,
I would have never went out with her again.
Oh, by the way, you went on a second date.
She stole my wallet.
I'm
I'm not so inscrutable that she wasn't actually a dude, but whatever.
I don't think you can even say that anymore.
I'll tell you what though.
Back.
She made an excellent chicken parmesan. I will say that.
Well, you know the way to a man's heart,
right?
Anyway, back to Tom Atkins. Tom, do we ever figure out? Like, I feel like he's a doctor in every movie. That he's not.
Yeah, I think in this one he's a fisherman. He's got his own boat.
He doesn't look at all like a fisherman. He's wearing khakis.
I don't even know if they even say what he is in it. He's just a guy driving it. Oh, even better. He's just some guy driving down the road who has
in
no
an old
job.
truck.
Yeah, he's got no job. He's a hobo, basically.
He appears to be extremely concerned about the local fishermen.
Yeah,
and everything.
Well, they're friends of his in the movie.
That's why I said he's extremely concerned.
Yeah.
We haven't even gotten to the
just for a record. If you were out on a boat and you were missing, and they called me, they're like, "Hey, Skull, Stone's been missing." I'd be like, "He's drunk.
He sailed off to an island. He ain't coming back."
However, if he was out on a boat, but all the booze was left on the dock, then I'd be like, "Call fucking Coast Guard."
Exactly. Now it's a worry. So the fog is rolling in. The marauding, vengeful seamen are coming back to reclaim.
We're
their
pirates, not seamen, but pirates.
From Antonio Bay, right? Is that it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Stevie Wayne is rocking the vinyl
all night.
She's throwing it out there.
She leaves her kid with an old lady.
She's also playing Stevie Nicks. She's one of the hottest Stevies. Her and Stevie Nicks are 2 of the hottest.
They're
Stevies,
pretty. They're pretty hot. Stevie Nicks. Oh God, I had to think for her. But that's a song for another day.
When she leaves her kid with the neighbor, is it her house or is the kid at the neighbor's house?
I think
does she live in the lighthouse?
No. I think that's her house.
That'd be a pretty cool.
The old lady comes over. I think it's her house.
That'd be pretty sweet,
right? And the old lady but Carpenter pulling no punches.
Never does.
Hey, we got an email.
We do have an email, actually. Thank you very much for that lead-in, Carlos. Our email this week comes from Sam D. from Hobart, Indiana.
One of my favorite places to wrestle.
Love Hobart. I used to go to this bar in Hobart after we would wrestle at the Hammond Civic Center. And it was only because
they were open later than everybody else.
Right. And after a few chair shots is the only place I could actually find my way to with one eye open and with a lump on my head.
This guy's seen more barroom floors than a mop.
Not the floors, just the bar rooms. But Sam this week asked us, and hey, Sam, by the way, thanks for writing in and thanks for being a fan of the Manson Brothers show. We love everybody that watches the show. Hit that subscribe button. Thanks to the Arrow in the Head channel for having us on.
Arrow in the Head!
Never mind. That was the Tom Atkins spell. Sam writes, guys, what are your favorite songs? Let's go top 5 about weather. Since we're talking about the fog, weather anomalies. Carlos, I'm going to let you start off.
Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
Ooh, that's a good one. Thunder. I'm going to go with Ride the Lightning by Metallica.
Yeah.
Even though it's not really about lightning.
How about let me see. How about Who Stopped the Raid by Creedence Clearwater Revival?
That's a little
No.
soft for our show. I'll go Fool in the Rain
Oh,
by Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
How about that
Greatest
one?
band ever. No arguments. Don't even write us about it.
That's true.
How about what's that Ace Frehley thing that you like?
Oh, you know what? Actually, it's funny you mentioned that. There's two songs. There's one by Black Sabbath
Yeah.
and one by Ace Frehley
Yeah.
of Kiss, obviously. And they're called Snowblind.
Oh,
Two huge songs by
Snowblind, take it easy. Snowblind.
That's Slow Ride, dude, not Slow Blind.
But it's by Foghat.
Very good. It is by Foghat. And we're talking about
Weather.
no, we're talking about the fog.
Oh, okay. So that.
Foghat, though. I
Wait
like
a
that.
minute.
Pretty good job.
So hang on a minute. So if you people that have seen the movie, okay, so you know the setup at the beginning. John Houseman from what was the company he used to work for?
Was it E.F. Hutton?
I believe it was E.F. Hutton, though. They earned it. I don't know if it was
He
E.F.
tells
Hutton, but
the
whatever it
story.
was, whoever earned it, that's who he was telling. So he tells this
And
ghost
it's
story,
a ghost story.
and it is awesome. I mean, he tells that story, and it's spooky.
You know who else tells a great story in the
Tonight.
movie?
One more night tonight.
Hal Holbrook tells a good story too.
Yes, he does. And which all weaves together about the story of the ship, the leper colony coming in, which is where the
Seamen.
seamen get there.
Yes.
Which is how we get the semen all over the place.
Leprosy and semen.
Two great tastes that go great together. Just ask Carpenter. Anyway, they're after the gold, which happens to be.
I want to be gold.
They're always after me, Lucky
Wasn't there
Charms.
another movie about some little fucker that was after gold?
Yeah, Leprechaun.
That's right. All right. Anyway, keep going about the gold.
Anyway, they find that they want the gold back. That's what Hal Holbrook, the priest,
Mhm.
figures out, right? So he figures out the gold is actually made into the crucifix, but it's so obvious, like nobody looked at that thing prior to this.
Right.
But that's not my point, right? It's sitting right in your face. So he takes the thing down. All the pirates, the evil leprotic pirates are standing there. Is that a word?
Lepers.
Probably not, right?
I'm not even sure they're pirates, but anyway.
Well, either way, they're standing there in all their gory glory, and he gives them the cross back, and they all disappear.
And oh, by the
right?
way, previously in the film, he has acknowledged the fact
That they
the
stole
four
it.
founders stole it
Stole
and were
it.
very bad.
They
He's
wrecked
trying
the
to do
ship.
the right thing.
Right. He's trying to make amends, which is why the fog. So the fog all rolls back. Stevie
And what
Wayne,
does
they
he
all
get for
get
his
saved.
efforts?
You think it's over, and then all of a sudden it comes back, and he gets the chop.
Chop.
And we're not talking about the circumcision either.
No.
He gets the chop, right? Then the movie ends. So here's my question to you, dear viewers on the other side of the video screen.
Okay.
Was John Carpenter going for a sequel setup with that? Because why? I mean, to me, and I'm just saying, it's kind of buddy fucking, don't you think? Like
term.
he does a good thing for this guy, and then the guy screws him. He gets a screw job. Another wrestling term for you. We'll cover that later, though. He goes back on it. He kind of like he does a good thing, and then the pirate guy goes, you know what? Not good enough. Cuts his head off.
Well,
So does that mean that the fog's going to come back? We don't know because they never did a sequel, unfortunately, because the movie was not well received. It's now considered a classic, at least by our standards. It is. Even some of the kids from Gen Z I know that watch the movie, they like the movie.
yeah.
It's a really good
Well,
film.
thankfully, they weren't turned off by the horrific remake in 2005.
Please, do we even have to
Which
mention that?
not
thing?
only had a bad plot and bad writing, but
They
horrendous acting.
PG-13'd it. Too.
It was absolutely terrible.
The only good
um,
thing in that movie is the Russian guy from Snatch that's in it. What's his name?
He's
I
also in
forgot.
Boris
Boris
Bullet
the Blade.
Dodger.
He's
Boris
Boris the
the
Blade in
Bullet Dodger.
Snatch. Yeah, in Snatch. He also shows up in Quarantine
Why
as
do
the
they call him the Bullet
landlord
Dodger?
because he dodges bullets, Avi. Anyway.
So I actually have a little insight on this.
Oh, okay.
To your,
I would
to
love
your-
to hear
to your
your
query.
insight.
Apparently there was a sequel in the works at one point in time.
No.
Yes. If you recall in the movie, there was kind of a finite time frame that the fog marauding seamen came back.
Yeah, it was
on a regular
between
basis.
certain hours, right? Like between
Well,
one
not only
and
certain hours, it was like every
Certain time of
23
year.
years
Yeah,
or something.
I
I
know.
don't remember the exact number.
23 years. I think that was the creeper from Jeepers
Minor
Creepers.
details escape me generally. Thank you, Jack Daniels. But there's
Like
a
my
regular time
birthday.
frame that they continue back. Although we never find out what happened the previous times they came back. looking
Right.
For said
But
crime.
I don't think they did. Oh, you know what it was? It was the 150-year anniversary of the town or something, or maybe it was
Antonio Bay,
100 years.
Which, by the way,
founding
super
of the
cool
town.
name. And oh, by the way, we'll get into this at a later show. Carpenter had an absolute obsession with Northern California.
Oh, and
Sea
it's so beautiful.
Yeah,
That if I was gonna move to a town, that's the town I would go to.
they wouldn't have you, so don't even think about it. But
That's why I'm not there.
back to the sequel. Apparently, it was in the works at one point in time, and Carpenter had designs. He'd written a script, or at least had part of it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, wow.
And they were going down the
Fact
road.
check that, folks.
They financing was there, distribution was there, which I mean we all know distribution.
Don't get me
Come on.
started.
Like the worst thing of all time. The biggest, like a crooked as a barrel of snakes. Anyway, distribution aside, all that kind of stuff. The thing that they couldn't settle on was a title for The Fog 2.
Really?
Yeah.
What were they gonna call it?
Carpenter wasn't sure what he wanted. He just wanted to call it The Fog 2. And the studio wanted to call it The Fog 2, A Leper Never Changes Its Spots. But hey, on that, folks,
Wait, were they really gonna call it A Leper Never Changes Its?
it's time to take it home this week. Thanks again for tuning in to the Manson Brothers Show. My brother Carlos is going to tell you where you can hit us up and get all our merch. You cannot buy this shirt,
But you can buy
this shirt.
What has a funny saying on the back at MansonBrothers.com.
2 of them.
We got Blu-rays, we got DVDs, we got these cool cars, we got your hats there. We got a couple different kind of pictures of me and my brother.
We'll even sign them.
We'll even
Whether
sign
you
them and
like it
send
or
them
not.
back. Yeah, we're signing them anyway. Yeah, like that. No, like that.
There you go.
Just like that.
There you
We'll sign
go.
them and send it to you. MansonBrothers.com. Drop us a line. Let us know what you think. Ask us some questions. We'll give you those answers.
Put your shopping carts away, cretins. Until next time.
See you later, shitty pants.